It rained last night, so these are covered in goop and gross, but we got our first duck eggs. Taste test coming literally as soon as I go in the house. So exciting. So today, my big project, we're going to see how far that I'm getting, is going to be getting the peppers dehydrated down so that I can get started on the spices. And then I'm going to be doing my freezer diced tomatoes and freezer pasta sauce. That'll be up next. The canned will be later on. I'm going to be preserving this pineapple and rooting the top, which is why I have this here. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And then we've got to do some pickling. I've got some okra there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pickle it, I've decided. And then after that, in my dehydrator being ready again, I will be doing watermelon powder and fruit leather and sour gummies. But I will also be freezing some watermelon. So I'm going to try to focus on getting peppers dehydrated and a lot of my freezer stuff ready. And then when the dehydrator's ready again, I'll start working on that. Unfortunately, we only have a 4-tray dehydrator, so it takes a little bit of time, and especially running off the generator for the dehydrator is a little bit of an adjustment, but it works out just fine. And so let's get to it. Okay, so I just filled the dehydrator. He's over there getting it set up, and we're gonna check back over there later when we have to flip it over. I have a dehydrator that heats from the bottom, so that means I have to rotate my trays so that I get a good even exchange. I hope to get an Excalibur, hopefully a 9-tray next year, but right now this is what I have. I got this for $50 a few Black Fridays ago from Cabela's, but this is what's left. So I didn't do any of the tomatoes. This is all tomatoes. But one thing of peppers here, and then there's there's some peppers in here mixed in with the tomatoes. So a ton of it got in there. Now, to note, if you are going to dehydrate sweet peppers, you need to dehydrate them cut side down. If you are going to do the hot peppers, you can do it up or down, and I usually do it up. So this book right here is amazing. Let's see, it's like 40 something parsnips. So as you can see, it's got a ton of information here, but it shows you for the bell peppers and it shows you for hot peppers, and both of them dehydrated at 130 degrees. The sweet peppers do hold more moisture, and therefore they actually go for about 14 to 18 hours usually to dry, whereas the other ones are 12 to 18 hours. If you have a standard situation where you can let your dehydrator run constantly, that's ideal. If you don't feel comfortable running it like overnight or something like that, you could shut it off, but it does delay the process. You want to get that started as soon as you can. And this book is great because it has also recipes for how you can use, let me show you, for how you can actually use these. So you can do, like, it shows you how to do tea blends. It shows you how to make things like a vegetable soup, for example. So now you've dehydrated your corn, your carrots, celery, onions, herbs, peppers, all that. Now what do you do with it? So it shows you when you want to put a jar together. This is what you'll layer up in your jar, and it'll be your dried corn, your dried carrots, celery, onions, red bell peppers, parsley, salt, basil, garlic, and all that. So you get all that and put it in your jar. It looks nice, it looks pretty, it's on your shelf, it's got a great shelf life. And then when you want to make it, you go ahead and you add it with the water. It'll rehydrate everything in it, and as soon as they're tender, you'll be ready to go. So it's just so much easier. They have other things in here too, like cookies, and let's see what else it was. There was cookies, muffins, chili, and then if you wanted to take something out with you, say camping I don't know, backpacking, hiking, they have how you can do that for breakfast, for jerky, you know, recipes to take with you on the go in your pack. So this is a great book. It shows, you know, some pictures of things, you know, being rehydrated. There's desserts, breakfast. I mean, there's over 400 recipes in here. And that's all at the back of the book. At the front of the book, it's just telling you how to preserve, through dehydration, all of your things, such as your fruits, your vegetables, beans, grains, dairy, meat, poultry, all that kind of stuff. So highly recommend. Got it from Amazon. I was informed that there's 2 authors. This one is the Jennifer McKenzie one. I don't remember the other gentleman's name, but I do not have his book. So back to it. Moving on to the pineapple now. So I have twisted off the top, and I am going to peel off these bottom layers and peel it away from this about an inch and toss them away. And then I'm going to set this in my jar of water just so that it rests. I don't want anything to rot, so I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit here, scrape all that off, get this, and then once it gets a ton of roots in there, I'll transfer it to the soil. I'll keep you updated on the progress. I'm gonna go ahead and do this real quick, and then we'll move on to slicing it up. All right, so I've got it skinned. I'm gonna take the core out of the middle, set it to the side over here so I can break that down, and then I'm going to freeze these. And then when we want them, we'll pull them out, they'll thaw out. The reason that this pineapple, we did them in these slices, is so that we can have grilled pineapple. So let's get that done, and I am cruising through my list. Okay, I put the pineapple in the freezer, and now I am going to work on the diced tomato bags to go into the freezer, and I am cruising right on through here, so I'm gonna get that done real quick. All right, so I ended up with 5 bags of the diced tomatoes. There's more in a couple of the bags, and that's because I add a little bit more to my chili. So I'm gonna pop these into the freezer. It used up everything that I had here. I just have these 2 and then some okra, but I do have to go out and do a full harvest, so there is plenty more. I'm just piecing everything out because I'm doing a little bit everywhere. I am going to dehydrate a lot of the tomatoes and do tomato powder, as well as some of the sun-dried tomatoes. So we carry on. All right, well, I went out to go get my watermelon. I found some little guys in there, these 2 that came off of the plant. These 2 are supposed to be this small. They came off the other plant with the melon that I uploaded previously, but those 2 came with these. These are the black diamonds. This one, as you can see, grew into my cinder block a little. These 2, this vine was on vertical trellis, and so these are really pretty. They don't have the spot or anything. Then I had a ton more okra, so good thing I haven't started that yet. And then I got another basket of peppers, and just by looking out there, I'm gonna have probably I don't know, probably 3 or 4 gallons of cucumbers yet. And then I'm gonna pull that vine to prep for carrots in that bed for fall. And then I've got sweet peppers to harvest and a ton of red tomatoes looking out there. So it is going to be a long one today. Let's get working on cutting all this watermelon up. We're going to focus on the freezer melon right now. I'm going to save a melon, and I'll deal with the dehydrating with that melon. But the other ones I'm going to get started on freezing. And this one I cracked bringing it in, so this is my first one. Okay, now I will upload a picture of the frozen watermelon that I did right here. And there's still more freezing. So in the meantime, I'm going to work on peeling the green off of the rind. I took most of the red off the rind, and we are going to make watermelon rind pickles. So I will show you how to do that. We're going to get our jars and get some pepper and get some jalapenos. I'm going to use jalapeno, but I'm also going to spice it up, or clear it up. I'm going to spice it up a little bit, and we will cut these into about 1/2 inch little spears here, and we will pack our jars. It's pretty delicious. I'll throw the recipe at the end of the video, but let's get working on that. My phone is just acting up, overheating and shutting down, so it's not letting me do a time lapse or anything like that right now. So I am trying to take pictures and show you step by step of what I'm doing. And so once I cut this up and I'm ready to stack jars, I'll bring you back. All right, so I've got a brine started. I've got 2.5 cups of water, 2.5 cups of white vinegar, 1/4 cup of salt. I use canning salt, and 1/2 cup, well, it's about 3/4 cup of sugar. I have taken my rinds. Let's see. So when you have your rind, you know, that's too much pink on it. You still got to shave that down. Barely a little, you can leave for color, but you just don't want to have that on there. It's going to get mushy. So if I were going to use this, I'm not, but if I was, I could cut this in half, and you need to take the green off. You see, I've sliced it off. You could use a peeler. I used a knife, and get that all off of there. Now these are ready. He went out to grab my jars, and I've got my peppers ready. I was going to add a pop of color. So you will slice these, and you can leave the seeds in. It is going to be hot, or you can take the seeds out, or you can do half and half. I mean, that's really just on you. You could also do a jalapeno and get the flavor without the heat, but I'm just going to jazz the jars up. I don't have peppercorns right now, so I'm going to substitute in pepper. And then these need to chill in the fridge for at least 2 hours before you try them. But then, you know, they'll be better the longer they go. They last in the refrigerator 4 to 6 weeks. So as soon as I get these jars ready, I'm going to go out. I'll boil this. When that gets all good and dissolved and stirred up, I'll add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to use the vanilla extract I made earlier this year. And then we'll be ready to get it poured into jars. We'll put the lids on, wait for them to cool. And when I can handle them, I'll shake them up a little bit so that it can all distribute. And then I'll pop them in the refrigerator. And I'll give you an update on how that is at the end of the video, or in a couple days. If I think they need more time, I will show you. But hopefully not. I am kicking buns. Alright, so I'm working on putting the rind into the jars. In the jars, I have pepper in the bottom, and then I got terrible focus. And then I've got some of the sliced peppers there in the bottom, just different colors to add a little bit of eye appeal. I'm going to go ahead and get these packed real good, and we'll go out and do the brine. Alright, so I've got my jars all packed up here, and I'm going to go out, boil this brine. When I bring it back in after it's been up to a rolling boil and all the sugar is dissolved, I will add in a teaspoon of the vanilla, and then we are going to pour it in here and put on the lids and let them sit to cool to room temp, and then I'll shake them up. But how pretty is this? Pretty excited for this. This will be a really great thing to try. We had a ton of rinds. And the birds got some, but we're trying to do something with this. One watermelon is going to go for the dehydrator to do gummies, and that rind I'm going to try to do candied. And the other watermelon I am going to try to do a batch of jelly. And if we like these, I'm going to do another, with this rind, I'm going to do another batch of these. And I forgot that I haven't done any cowboy candy yet, and Braxton was wanting some of that, so I'm going to take the jalapenos and things out of these, and I'll end up doing a batch of that this week as well. But after this pickling, I am spent for today. I do have 2 more trays of watermelon in the freezer that'll go get bagged up. So just that one watermelon and 2 of the small ones gave about 2 gallons of diced to have, to eat fresh, to put in a drink, to juice, anything like that. I still have 2 left over, and then it gave us rinds to do this, and we ate some. I'm really, really pleased with it, because those were just the tiny icebox ones, and these are the black diamonds. So pretty excited. I've got just chaos everywhere. I haven't done anything but preserve and do chores today. I've got it outside here boiling. You can see a little bit of my rust on the camp stove here, and it's about to come to a rolling boil. And then I'm going to take it in, add the vanilla, and put it in the jars. I'm going to be done preserving for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and we'll be back because we're not finished. We've got a lot more preserving to do. I got a lot more recipes, and hopefully I can get the issue fixed with the camera so that we can do our time lapse again. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you tomorrow.